Hey, what's up fasters? Dr. LeGrand here for another fasting tip video. And one of you guys asked a question about how to prevent from hunger while you're fasting. I thought this was a great question, so this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about 10 different tips when it comes to dealing with hunger during fasting. So let's get right started. So the first tip on how to prevent hunger during fasting, especially if you are water fasting, it might be not that you are really truly are dealing with food hunger, but it could be a little bit has to do with dehydration. Sometimes we don't get enough water when we're doing water fasting, so just making sure you're getting plenty enough water. A lot of times that can alleviate the hunger issues if we're drinking plenty of water while we're doing a water fast. The second tip is avoid any TV or movies that has food. I know for myself, I have made the mistake of doing this, and a lot of times this will tempt me, and sometimes I will break the fast improperly. That's a big mistake on my part whenever I do that. I know it can be difficult, especially if we have our special TV shows that we like watching on a regular basis, and there's those TV commercials that happen. But if you can avoid it as much as possible, this will just make it easier for you to not have those temptations kicking in. The third tip is that you can drink like herbal teas if you need to. So if you're trying to get a little bit helping with that, some people also do like green tea or caffeine, like coffee, but more of like 100% pure coffee that can help suppress a lot of the hunger. So some people do that. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm more a fan of doing like herbal teas, but that's another topic for a different day. And the fourth tip is if you are a beginner and you're just starting out doing fasting and you're finding it difficult, what you can do is you can start doing a liquid fast instead, or doing a juice fast to get your body adapted, used to the idea of not having any food. And with a liquid fast, it's just simple where you're just doing bone broths, veggie broths during your fast that can help with some hunger pains without having solid foods. Or you can do a juice fast, like a veggie juice fast, where you're doing that as well. The fifth tip is keeping yourself busy while you're fasting. I do this pretty much on all my fasts. I actually pick my most busiest days at work while I fast because I'm not thinking about how hungry I am. I'm just busy, and by the time I'm done with my fast, it's been easy. It's an easy breeze. Now, if you are just starting fasting, sometimes this can be difficult for people depending on what kind of job you have or what kind of work or hobbies that you do. It can be difficult if you're a little bit more intense exercise or utilizing physical activity during your work. So it just really depends on what kind of work, but you certainly can do that if your body kind of adapts to it. So everybody is a little different, but that is a great way to kind of avoid the hunger pains that you're going to be dealing with, to kind of not have to think about the hunger while you're working or keeping yourself busy or doing some kind of hobby that you like, or doing the tasks that you kind of been putting off. Like if you're going to school, maybe working on that big paper that you need to write, doing that during fasting, or it could be just catching up on emails. It could be whatever, but just keeping your mind busy and off from the hunger. The sixth tip is avoid going to the grocery store. I know I've made this mistake. A lot of times when my wife, she wants to go to the grocery store while I'm fasting, I'll go, I'll smell all the great foods, I'll see all the foods, and a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes I will break my fast improperly because of that temptation. So I try to avoid going to the grocery store. Some of you guys might have better self-control than I do, but that's what I try to do, is just to avoid going to the grocery store or avoid any kind of commercials like I talked about before. The seventh tip is do the keto diet before and after your fast. And why I say this is there has been some research that's shown that people do tend to do better in fasting if they are on the keto diet. And why this is because they're already in a keto state and they're already burning fat for fuel, so they're not going to get that hunger pains as much as people who do not do the keto diet. So if you are somebody that has been thinking about doing the keto diet, or feel like you do really well in the keto diet, I'd encourage you to try to eat maybe a meal, or maybe even 2 days before your fast, doing more strict keto where it's more healthier fats, so that you're already starting to get yourself in a keto state. So when you're finally doing your fast, your long fast, it's easier. You're not having those hunger pains that you're getting and those cravings because you're already burning fat for fuel to begin with. And then of course ending it with more keto as well, so kind of sandwiching in between. The eighth tip, and this is something I have to do, but it does depend on each person, but telling your immediate family, so your spouse, your significant other, and of course if you maybe have older kids, just kind of tell them that you're fasting that day, or you're fasting for these next couple of days. Now, of course, you don't want a hindrance towards, obviously your family, but if they can at least support you on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish with your fasting, you can at least time the dinner times that they actually have dinner and other kind of snacking stuff, so that way you're not tempted. So maybe I usually have my family eat dinner before I get home if I'm fasting. That makes it easier for me to not have that temptation. And then of course, kind of staying in a different room if they are kind of snacking, just things like that, just kind of planning accordingly. That can help with having better self-control. I just have not that great of self-control when it comes to avoidance. When I see food and smell food, so I just try to avoid it altogether, so that way I actually do finish my fast properly. And the 9th tip is that if you are doing a 24, 36-hour fast, what I suggest, and this is what I do, this is really helpful, is that last 8-hour stretch, which can be more the difficult part when you start feeling the hunger pains, is you do it while you're sleeping. So like for example, if you're doing a 36-hour water fast, something I do a lot of is, I start my fast obviously the night before, have that dinner, go the full day, but then that last 8-hour stretch, I'm sleeping it. So I don't have to worry about thinking about being hungry. I might dream about, food, but in general, that makes it easier for that last stretch. So when you break your fast that morning, it's easier to do. The other thing I suggest is trying to get more sleep when you are fasting. And why this is important is because it has been shown that, when you don't get as much sleep, leptin levels decrease and ghrelin levels will increase, which causes more hunger, because ghrelin is what gives us wanting more food. It increases our appetite, whereas leptin decreases our appetite. So if those are decreasing and your ghrelin levels are increasing, if you're getting lesser sleep, it's just going to make it even harder and having more cravings, as well as just wanting more food and higher appetite. And the 10th tip, this is kind of a weird one, but I've kind of found this to kind of help, and I know some other people has kind of helped, is just brushing your teeth. If you're starting to feel like, oh, I've tried everything else and I'm feeling hungry, some weird thing about brushing your teeth can help with the hunger. I know it's kind of helped with me when I decided to just brush my teeth. The hunger kind of goes away. I'm not sure if that has to do with, there's probably no research that I've seen. I don't know if that has to do with like just cleaning the mouth and get rid of a lot of the digestive enzymes that we do produce in our mouth. It's possible. Don't quote me that's that's fact. That's just maybe a theory, possibility. But for some weird reason, by brushing your teeth can help deplete that the appetite and not feeling so hungry and wanting food. Okay, so those are my 10 tips when it comes to trying to eliminate hunger during fasting. I'm curious what your guys' tips are when it comes to reducing hunger during fasting. Please leave that in the comment section below. Everybody in the community will really appreciate it if everybody kind of puts in their tips when it comes to eliminating hunger during fasting. Those are just my tips that have kind of been helpful for me and for some of my patients that I work with when it comes to that. And if you guys like this video, give us a big thumbs up, share with your family and friends as always. If you are new here and not subscribed to our channel, go ahead and hit this subscribe button over here. And then of course, check out these other videos if you have not seen them already. And until next time, this is Dr. LeGrand signing out. Thanks, bye.